Good afternoon. I'm Matt McLean in the Show Me Live Weather Center. We are continuing to monitor severe weather making its way throughout portions of the area as we are already under a tornado watch for much of the coverage area until 9 o'clock tonight. We are expecting things to continue, obviously expanding with severe weather coverage through the remainder of the afternoon. We're going to call this the precursor of things to come, unfortunately. You'll see in just a moment as to why. Very quickly, right along the fringe of our coverage area, we do have a tornado warning, which has been in effect since it was in downtown St. Louis. We're looking at a tornado warning right now for Bond and East Central Madison County until 2:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Marine or near Highland, moving to the east at 25 miles an hour. There's some truth to this when it comes to the severe weather itself, and here's what I mean. We're already receiving reports from trained weather spotters, 1 inch in hail diameter across places like Belleville as well as into West County, looking across the area with downtown St. Louis just earlier being under a tornado warning. Now it's under a thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible signature. And again, another inch to a quarter size hail there with winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Madison County, St. Clair, St. Louis County, and the city of St. Louis until 3 o'clock. This is right over Clayton, moving to the east at 25 miles per hour. Now, very quickly, all the counties that you see in red right now, that is the tornado watch. The flashing red, the flashing yellow. We keep it simple here. Flashing red as for the past 30 years until the National Weather Service decided otherwise, kept it at red. We're going to keep it at red for this tornado season. That's where you're seeing the flashing areas of there. The green over toward Jefferson City, that is actually a flood warning and a flood advisory, flash flood warning, if you will, as well. It expires in 45 minutes because of the training impact that we're seeing across mid-Missouri and into eastern Missouri, and then on into portions of southern Illinois. Now, folks in southeast Missouri, Farmington, Fredericktown, Jackson, toward Cape Girardeau, even toward the Missouri boot heel, your time to shine with severe weather has yet to come. We're talking later in the evening, and some of this will be after dark. And of course, we know the drill across southeast Missouri, southern Illinois, and western Kentucky especially. It's really tough to see those tornadoes, especially if they're rain wrapped during the daytime. Darn near impossible after it gets dark. And if you hear the freight train sound, well, it's already too late. You've got literally 5 seconds or more to figure out where you're going to go. That's not enough time to get into a basement if you've got one. So keep all of these things in mind. Be weather aware today throughout the remainder of the afternoon. We're here all afternoon. We're going to be keeping you up to date. We're already seeing perhaps some further development. If you've stepped outside recently, it feels like a hot shower bathtub kind of an environment, which is not obviously normal for what we see on April 27th. So that's a key to indicate that we're going to be seeing an awful lot of probably pop-up thunderstorms. Those are the dangerous ones. Those are the ones that you want to be very cautious in keeping a watchful eye on. Those lone wolves have a tendency to create a larger amount of rotation and potentially spawn into what's called a supercell type of a storm system. That's what we're going to monitor, especially for folks around Jackson, Cape Girardeau, southern Illinois toward Marion, and we'll keep a watchful eye on things. Taking a look at some of our storm cams around Merrimack Bluff right now, if you're able to see that, and I think we're able to keep that. Obviously, a lot of rain from Merrimack Bluffs in that particular area. And then let's go down into a little bit more of Jefferson County right now for the Parks and Recreation camera. We thank them for their permission on these aspects. Hopefully that's going to end up loading here for just a moment. And if not, we'll get back to it at some other point in time. It looks like it's going to take its little time. Now we have another tornado warning, so let's get into that very quickly. It's the one where the tornado was possible. Now it's possible. We've got a tornado warning for, it looks like southwestern Madison County, northwestern St. Clair County, the city of St. Louis until 2:45. It is moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. And again, a radar indicated rotation with a tornado and quarter size hail being the possibility. I'm going to do one other thing because we do cover St. Louis and obviously the metro area. That is something that we do. We also understand there's a lot of media outlets in St. Louis that's going to keep you safe, and safe is what it's all about. Our primary area, obviously, is all about Southeast Missouri and Southwest Illinois, but myself, and along with many of you, have family and friends that live all throughout the metro area, so we do cover them while we're on the air, just not necessarily something that we break into all by its lonesome self. So we're taking a look at this on a 3D graph very quickly here. Make sure if you're watching on the vertical portrait screen that you're able to see this. Look at this right here with this black area that I'm circling right now. You've got some white, some purple, and kind of that magenta color. That's almost an off-the-scale chart for different types of things. I'm going to give a very quick aspect here for some velocity and see if we can maybe get into a situation where we are seeing any kind of potential winds, which would indicate a possible tornado in and around this area. It's very messy for rotation. Sometimes it's very easy to see. Just got a statute sweep update there. And then other times it likes to play hide and seek. Tornadoes don't always just hop onto the ground and stay on the ground. They kind of dip down at times. And sometimes if you catch it in between the statute sweep that you just saw go across the screen, may not entirely catch it in one particular sweep. So every couple of minutes, it'll send something else through. Let me try one more mode here. A little bit more clearly here, right around this area. You're kind of looking around here. That's a potential for possible rotation in and around that area. That's obviously near North St. Louis, as St. Louis City and North County, and on into the Metro East. So we'll be keeping a watchful eye on that. Is that going to be a problem for places like Arnold and Waterloo, on through Potosi and Farmington? No, it's not. It's going to be moving off to that eastern situation. The main feature presentation for this storm front is obviously going to be, like I said, Southeast Missouri, Southern Illinois, later on today, early evening, and on even into the nighttime. And the further you get toward the Missouri Boot Heel, Western Kentucky, we're talking maybe 9 o'clock at night, somewhere in that neighborhood. And that is very, very difficult. Obviously, you have to solely rely on radar, because by the time you hear it with your ears, you're just simply not going to be able to have enough time to take any kind of shelter. Folks in Benton, Missouri, I should say, we've got 3 of them here in the coverage area, but one in Missouri near Jackson and Cape Girardeau. We'll keep a watchful eye on that little popcorn thunderstorm and see what happens. There's plenty of fuel there to work with. For now, we're going to go ahead and toss it back to regular programming. And as additional warnings take place throughout the remainder of the afternoon, we will be right here. I'm Matt McLean in the Show Me Live Weather Center. We'll talk again soon.